Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's Tuesday today. What's happening today, Tuesday? Mara?
We got some back to recovery group meetings today.
Oh, they're going to say we got the plumber coming over today. We
I
got the
can't
plumber
believe
coming
it's
over.
really exciting.
exciting.
Actually.
Going to get our bathroom working, finally.
Like-
How are you, Kastuba?
Doing good, Raghunath.
You're right.
Doing good.
We're doing it here.
How are the sandwiches? Is Mara making sandwiches?
Oh
that
my
Bible
God.
thing?
Mara, she's the best chef ever. It's unbelievable. It's
Well, it
like-
opens flat, so you can like use it as a grill as well. So
Oh,
I
you could be
grilled
making doses on that thing.
Prabhu,
Oh.
she
Or is it,
made
like,
me
rigid?
she made me a vegan lasagna, gluten-free lasagna that was
that
so
thing?
delicious.
Well, I grilled zucchini and eggplant
Oh,
on the
okay.
panini press.
Yeah.
See,
so-
Mara said she's at that stage where she can just create things. Like she doesn't
She
need a
is.
recipe. She
she's
could
next.
just.
She's not following the
create.
rules. It's spontaneous devotional cooking.
That's right.
Offer it all to the deities. It's beautiful.
Every day a new recipe,
Unbelievable.
but she doesn't note them down, and so they're not going.
It's
into
all
the
up
book.
here.
Is it? Or
It's
is-
ready
do they
for the
just
Wisdom of the
disappear?
Sages cookbook. She's going to put out the Wisdom of the Sages cookbook.
Next year, I want to see that cookbook, 2024.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. We're doing last calls. I don't know. I think our wisdom. I think all that stuff in January. I think the last call might have happened if you didn't sign up. Let's call
Really?
today the last day because we have to get in that.
I
Here
can still
time training,
squeeze
300-hour. Yeah, there might be a cancellation if that's a fact.
Let's
that
get
you
one
can get in.
person. Let's get one person from the audience here today.
Wisdom
be.
training, 300-hour, and
Go.
the Kirtan Academy.
We gotta
Other
get
than
Jeff
that-
Eisenberg in Indy. He hasn't been there with
You
us
know,
before.
Jeff
huh?
Eisenberg would do great in India.
Man, we gotta get the Viking over there.
Yeah. You know, also, we just want to give one more shout out. If you're thinking about going to India but don't have that much time, we're doing a mini pilgrimage in Mayapur. Mika Stuba, Miss Mara is going to be there. A lot of our crew from Wisdom of the Sages, Mayapur. First time we ever did it officially, and it's happening this January 29th to February 5th. 1 week in Mayapur. Come early, go to the flower festival. You've seen the pictures. Now throw flowers yourself. That's all there on wisdomofthesages.com. Okay, Miss Mara, announcements, please. Did you already make them?
Well, no.
Okay.
Back to recovery group meetings. The men meet at noon today, and the women meet at 2 p.m.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Oh, I'm leaving Thursday and Friday. I got to go finish my audiobook.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you go ahead and do the Christmas extravaganza. Let's get together, Raghunath.
Nah.
Where's your Scrooge?
We're gonna do one upstate.
Scrooge.
No, we're gonna do one upstate. We're gonna do. You know, Kostuba, in my older age, I just like to take it a little easier. I know you like to rush around. Let me just take it easier. We're doing a little upstate thing together.
Upstate thing.
Upstate. We don't need the city life. We're gonna walk barefoot, cold plunge. You know, get a little
Alright.
holiday spirit. Okay.
You got to get a candy cane to little Karuna. She's never had one before. Someone should offer one
I'll
and
send her
send it
candy
out to
canes
her
for
somehow.
Christmas. All right. Let's go down with the show.
Okay. There's a nugget. We got a nugget.
We got a nugget. This is a good nugget. This is from Kamand Kojouri. That sounds.
Do you know anything about Kamand Kojouri?
Sounds Kojouri. Is that Israeli or Persian name?
More like Persian. Kamand was born in Tehran, raised in Dubai and Toronto, and resides in Wales.
It's alive. Okay.
She's a writer. I don't think she's even that famous writer, but she got a good quote.
You don't have to be famous to get good quotes.
No, you don't. You don't.
have to
So here's what Kamand Kojouri has to say.
Kamand says, you have no choice. You must leave your ego on the doorstep before you enter love. I like that one, right?
There's certain reasons why I liked it. I'm interested to hear why you liked it, Ragnar.
I like it because ego is like a great wall. It's the great protector of letting anybody inside. And if you live in a world of that ego, sometimes you see that in the corporate world, in the workplace, but you also see it in the religious world as well. And if you lead like that, what you're doing is you're training other people to come up the ranks like that. You know, if you lead with like an authoritarian ego, you attract those who want that authoritarian ego, and that's how you come up. You got to place yourself with a sharp wall. You lead by authority, and because of that, that's the environment you surround yourself. You can't have intimacy. You can't have friendship, and you definitely can't have love, because love requires you to allow people in with reason that are trustable.
But do you equate ego with being like aggressive or something like that?
Not necessarily. It's just a wall that you build around you, and it stops from people into getting to know you.
There you go. Yeah.
So love is something intimate, you know, to the degree that you and I, in our friendship, there's an ego there. Then there's no room there's no vulnerability there. And from vulnerability, you actually get to know. I've known really cool people, funny people, nice people, but they just don't let anybody inside. You know, and I'm not saying let everybody inside. You got to let a few people in, because that's how you have intimacy.
Well, the way that I was, you know,
what you
in looking at this, what part of why I liked it was it has a bhakti. I see a bhakti connection there. That there's always within schools of Vedanta, there's always talk about the ego, you know, and the idea that we need to let go of the ego. That when we become aware of our ego, even, right? Like most of us are just going through the world with a sense of ego, you know, that we're unaware of, like that I'm thinking I am this body, I'm thinking I'm a male, I'm thinking I'm an American, all of these things, most people just accept that as truth. Whereas a deeper thinker examines it more deeply and understands, no, these are temporary designations that I'm temporarily identifying with. I'll be separated from them with time, so they're not me, because I'll move on without them. And when we become aware of that, then we recognize the ego is just thought, not me, but thought patterns, right? Just patterns of thought, programming within the mind. And so awareness and ego, they don't coexist. As soon as you become aware of that, your ego, you become free of the ego. And that grants one tremendous relief from the sufferings of this world. I'm no longer, my contentment, my happiness, my fearlessness is no longer tied to something that's doomed by the force of time. But so all Vedantins will accept that kind of thinking. But when it comes to Bhakti-Vedanta, when it comes to Bhakti, there's that platform there, that platform of freedom from false ego. That's, you know what? That's an impressive accomplishment, no doubt. But it's really just the fertile ground for going much deeper into love, which is not love, not the illusory love, the reflected love of this world, but the love that our real identity invests in, our real identity is involved in. And so she's saying that you have no choice. You must leave your ego on the doorstep before you enter love. Before we leave behind the ego, not just to find peace. We leave behind the ego so that we can recover our true identity and engage it in true love. Like, for instance, say Raghunath, say you were like delusional, and you
say
like
I was.
and say you were completely delusional. And say,
Thank you for clarifying that.
and say you thought you were, oh, I don't know. Say you thought you were like Jimmy Page or something like that, right? And you kind of like were walking around with like a double neck guitar and like fancy pants with like dragons, embroidered in them. and you're like saying, you just walked around like that all the time. There would be no way for you and I to have a real, true, deep relationship because you were invested in this crazy delusional idea. I couldn't reach you. I couldn't reach you. And in Bhaktivedanta, we kind of understand that our ego, our false ego of this world, our identification with the roles that we play in this world, and our identification with our bodily identification, our family identification, our national identification, all these things, they're preventing us. They're our own delusion. That's like us thinking, I'm Jimmy Page.
Anything like the guys who walk around at Disneyland with, I'm Pluto, I am Mickey Mouse, I'm Minnie Mouse. It's okay to wear that costume. That's part of the gig. But
you got to know it.
Yeah, when you're off duty, you got to like let yourself know this isn't actually me. I can't walk into a party with that Disney outfit and just say, and introduce myself.
Did you ever see that thing where there was like a Snow White at Disneyland and there was a little kid and I think he was like autistic and he was having like a total meltdown. And then Snow White just kind of came over and comforted him in character, like just in full character. It was kind of sweet. But yeah, but like you're saying, we can't play one of those roles. Like she can be like, I'm Snow White and I'm going to play Snow White and I'm going to comfort this kid. But when she goes home, if she still thinks she's Snow White, then she's not going to be able to have real relationships with her family and with her neighbors. And
Snow White might need actual therapy. You know what I mean?
Snow White might need Dr. White or something.
Yeah, I love. Are you?
I was just going to wrap up that point. Was so similarly, we think that our false identifications in this world, they're not just illusion. They're illusion that's and they're not just illusion that's preventing us from peace. It's illusion that's preventing us from the deepest love, bhakti. So like if Krishna's looking at us and just waiting for us to let go of our ego, right? He's like, I'm ready to pull you into the most satisfying and mind-blowing loving adventures. As soon as you realize that you're not Snow White or you're not Jimmy Page, the door is open for you, and life will get like incredibly exciting and beautiful, but you're going to have to let go of your false identifications. And so that's kind of how I was reading Kamand Kojouri. So you have no choice. If we want to enter into the realm of prema bhakti, we have to leave the ego at the doorstep before we enter into that realm of divine love.
I love it. A lot of times in spiritual circles, you hear about like the death of the ego or killing the ego or burying the ego or getting rid of the ego. But we have an ego. We have an ego, our real ego. And that is what we were saying yesterday. I'm a tiny spirit soul. I'm part of something bigger. I'm desperately lost in the material world. And I'm trying to remember who I am. I'm a pure spiritual being. I'm Sat Chit Ananda, filled with eternality, inherent knowledge, a bliss, and I'm covered. And so that's real. That's the real ego. That's at the bottom. That's our default. It's beautiful to understand that. And then all the other roles, in this world of I'm identifying as, we accept it. I'll identify as the dad as the sun, as even your hobbies. We identify as our hobbies. We identify as a part of a group or a tribe or a culture or a gender or whatever we're identifying. We just have to understand in perspective. These aren't eternal identities. They're just temporary. And to the degree that I'm actually living in that secondary identity, I'm never actually going to have full peace of mind. I always have to bring it back to that default identity. And that's the one that's got to lead me through this life.
Mm.
Mm.
Very nice, Raghunathan. You know, I was thinking just one more thing about what we're reading now, where we're reading King Chitraketu, desperate for a son, finally gets one, but very quickly the son dies, and he feels extreme pain. Right, that was his darkest moment. You know,
Sure.
when he fully lost composure. You know, was on the ground, rolling on the ground, couldn't speak. You know, just sobbing intensely. And I was just thinking that, you know, it's I don't want to I don't want to speak ill of that kind of love in one sense, but I think we have to try to really be honest and penetrate deep into that. The pain that the king was feeling. In one sense, obvious, sure, it was because he loved the child, but in one sense, the child's done nothing to earn the love except just appear. You know, it has so much to do, right? It has
It to look
so
like the father. Okay, you look like me. I love you.
yeah, right.
You're completely
But it has
dependent on me. I love you. You think you think I'm your personal God? I love you.
yeah, but it really, you know, you could say that he lost his son, but perhaps the depth of the pain had so much to do with him losing his designation as father, right? You understand? It's like
Yeah.
and that was just I liked identifying as a father. It gave my life some kind of it brought some kind of pleasure into my life, and now I've
Yeah,
lost
some
that.
importance, some role, some position, some
Yeah,
respect from people.
yeah, and now that's gone, and he's just crushed by it.
Hmm.
You know, so I think we do need to look into our own ego in that way. You know, the pain that we feel in life, if we can look at it with the clarity of like a stone cold Vedantin, but again, always see that within the broader realm of the soft-hearted bhakti yogi, that's really what we're going for. That's a powerful combination.
I mean, it's actually a great point you just made, but I've never thought about it before.
The kid didn't do
It's
anything
like the
right.
kid doesn't do anything to get that love. And you know, there is a lot of ego behind this is my child, this is my son. You know, it's just like you think my son got the, what's those bumper stickers? My son was on the honor
Uh,
roll.
Honor roll.
Yeah, my son's on the honor roll. You know, imagine if you just had like the real bumper sticker, like my son was just picked up for shoplifting.
My son hasn't done anything, but he looks like me.
My son hasn't spoke to me in 4 years. You know,
My son hasn't
done
spoken
anything
yet.
but looks like me. I mean, that's oh, Krishna.
But and again, in Bhaktivedanta, it's not demanding that you walk away from the child and disassociate yourself with it, but what it is requiring is that we understand the relationship in the broader perspective of how we're all leaves connected to the tree and to the root of Krishna. You know, then the love can be there, the affection can be there, even the attachment can be there if it's attachment within that clear perspective of reality. You know, then that love is within the realm of a broader reality, not just in a completely illusory realm.
Tracy Conway writes on the board, I'm glad I'm hearing this. I spent the weekend with people who are constantly measuring each other. Lawyers, doctors, I graduated here, but blah, blah, blah. I definitely felt associating importance. I couldn't wait to get back to my world. Yeah. That's the whole thing. You're not your kids' accomplishments, and you're not their failures as well. And we identify with them. We feel better or worse.
What happens when your mother is sitting with her other centurion friends, and so Terry, what does your son Ray do?
Well,
And then
she somehow put a spin on Hare Krishna to make me look like the coolest guy ever. Before, I would think I was her embarrassment, but now she's like, oh, he's cool. He's traveled the world. He's blah, blah, blah. He's writing a book. Yeah. I still have people telling me the other day, Kostuba, about like, I can't believe Kostuba said you should take the other 97-year-old lady to the
Take
Bhakti
her.
Center.
It could be her
You
last
can't
chance.
just take old ladies. You gotta
Take
go
her there.
You gotta go through it's like taking a child. You gotta go through their adult children.
that
You don't
then.
just say, get in my car. How old are you?
No.
97, get in my car.
Do that then. They would probably be happy for her.
They probably would.
Okay,
All
follow
right.
that up, Ryan. I want that to happen this weekend.
Okay. Coming up, Grandma Tara. I'm coming up. Let's get her on the show, Grandma. Let's see if she's got
Wanna get
some
Grandma
words of
Terry back on
wisdom
the show?
going into the holiday season.
All right.
All right.
What does Christmas mean to her? That we could get into that. Ready?
You'd be like, I got nothing for Christmas when I was growing up.
All right. let's go.
Narayanam namaskritya chaivanarottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan. There it is. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu vadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhakti bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timurandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmidatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 6, Chapter 15, Text 17. We got the A-list sages laying down some truth.
Yeah.
Got Angira, the Christmas sage.
Oh yeah. So King Chitraketu just praised the sages. He recognized you're not ordinary guys. You guys are dropping the real knowledge. You were probably amongst the A-list sages. He listed them all, and they are in fact amongst that list.
Mm-hmm.
And he spoke with great humility, and he concluded yesterday's verse by saying, please ignite the torch of knowledge to save me, right? I'm suffering in my own ignorance. I'm suffering in my own attachment. I'm suffering in my own ignorance, in my own ego. Save me. I need to hear this knowledge. It's like nourishing, right? This is exactly what I need right now. It described that he had a shriveled face and he was wiping his tears away and everything. He's coming back, right?
Yeah. All right, so here's text 17. This is Angira. He's one of the A-list sages in disguise. Mm-hmm. My dear king, when you desired to have a son, I approached you. Indeed, I am the same Angira Rishi who gave you this son. For this Rishi, as for this Rishi, he is the great sage Narada. As for this Rishi, he's the great sage Narada. Isn't it cool? The Rishis were friends. He's the direct son of Brahma. So here they've got some like celebrities in their midst. Celebrity sages have come to this king's side.
And Angira is saying, you don't recognize me right now, but I'm the one that facilitated the birth of your child through my special mystic rituals.
By the way, remember? I just met where were we? We just met another person who said they had a mystical child. They went to India. They did a puja. She couldn't get pregnant. They did a puja. She got pregnant. Remember that?
No.
I was just with somebody. Okay. When I first came to your home,
no,
my dear king, you are an advanced devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To be absorbed in lamentation for the loss of something material. Now that affects people hearing this because they think, well, it's my son. It's not material. is unsuitable for a person like you. Like, I don't understand. Like this, someone could argue, I don't understand this. Like, why are they being so callous and hard-hearted? The guy just lost his son. Therefore, we have both come to relieve you from this false lamentation, which is due to your being merged in the darkness of ignorance. For those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge, to be affected by material loss and gain is not at all desirable. This is it. This is the world of loss and gain. This is that verse from the Bhagavatam, Asocian, right? What's that verse? Asocian of Asocians cha. For those who are wise, the wise lament neither for the
Neither
living
for the living or the dead.
nor the dead. And if you first read that in the Bhagavad Gita, you're like, what? We're not going to lament for someone who dies? Well, we do. In terms of somebody else, we lament for their your loss. But when it happens to us, we have to see. We're asked to step into wisdom.
Yeah.
There's no death. It's a change of bodies. That is a hard thing to. It's a big pill to swallow. But I will say, even in my neophyte stage, when I was just learning about bhakti and I witnessed my father die, it wasn't like I didn't feel anything, but it helped frame it out so much better. He's not dying, the body's dying. And when you start to see it like that, I never owned him. He was my father for a moment. He played the role as my father. And it just eases the sting of material existence to have your life framed out like this.
And a grief period was granted, although it seems like it was a very short grief period, but it was a very intense grief. Maybe he kind of got through it quickly, and now they're seeing an opening.
Right, they gave him
and he's asking, he's saying, light the
10
torch.
minutes.
Yeah, he's saying, light the torch. I need this knowledge now.
It is unbelievable, huh? It's unbelievable how you're asked to break this affection in the heart.
Well, another thing that's in play here, and I think in this next verse it's also going to be mentioned, is a sage like Angira, a refined gentleman, a thoughtful person, a sensitive person. They kind of have a sense for timing too, it's not like they're just throwing this stuff out there and hoping some of it sticks. They're kind of like, when they see the opening, they drop the knowledge. And I think what Angira is about to say is, I saw an opening, like I could have been telling you this stuff back when you were the king, back before you even had this kid, but you weren't ready for it. You were all caught up, and now you're asking for it. So here you go.
Okay.
Text 20.
I'm having reflections about breaking attachments. I'm having remembrances back to my mystic pranayam guy in South India, when he told me, he said, yes, in our tradition, he's from a religious organization. I don't know if it was big or not, but in his tradition, he's like, in our tradition, sometimes when we have a child, we give the child to the ashram. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, we just give the child away. I was like, when you have a child, you give your child away? He's like, yes. And I was brahmachari. And I was like, why would you give your child away? He's like, oh, I thought you would understand this being a monk. I was like, to develop detachment. Then he is just raised by the monks. And so part of me, I guess maybe like my Italian brain, like the family and the family. But I was just thinking, yeah, I guess you developed attachment for sure. But what about the family? And even though it's going to a higher thing, he's going to be raised by the monks. It was still like, it was really harsh to hear that.
Did he withhold the mystic pranayama mantras from you or whatever because you didn't?
No, I had to play it off like, oh, I'm fine with it. Yes, of course. Give all your kids away. Just give me the mystical mantras.
I was about to give them to you.
I'm completely fine. I'll give anybody away. All right.
Here, take my son.
Take my child. I don't even like him anymore. When I first came to your home, I could have given you the supreme transcendental knowledge, but when I saw that your mind was absorbed in material things, I gave you only a son who caused you jubilation and lamentation.
Okay, so he could just see. I'll give him the sun now, and he'll learn from the pain of losing the sun. He could foresee that.
We're just doing time on this planet learning lessons, aren't we?
Hopefully.
Right? Hopefully. It's okay
Hopefully
if you
learning,
don't learn
right?
them.
Yeah.
You just get to learn them again.
Yeah.
It's okay if we don't learn these lessons. They're just going to keep coming until
Evolve
we're
or
ready
repeat,
to.
Raghunath.
Right?
Evolve
We're
or
like
repeat.
caught in an egg, like a baby chick, just pecking, trying to get out. Oh my God, free me. My dear king, you are now actually experiencing the misery of a person who has sons and daughters.
There you go.
You'll never know this, Kastuba. You'll never know.
Raghunath, I may have learned it in previous lives.
You might have, but you forgot.
Maybe I didn't forget. Maybe I know.
You know, it's because for all that joy, there is such a pain. Of course.
You were just saying that you learn them, or otherwise you have to go through it and learn it again. And maybe I learned it, and I didn't have to go through it.
I think you have learned it, my friend. I think you have learned it. I think you've forgotten it in this life. I think you forgot it in this life. You might have to learn it again if you don't watch out. But yeah, it's like when you're here's the joy and pain. You see a little toddler, you got a little toddler, they're so adorable. There's so many like worries about that toddler. Oh, watch out. Where's the toddler? Where's the toddler? You know, toddles away.
Oh man.
You know? Yeah.
You
Sometimes
freak out.
you
turn around. Where's the kid?
I remember, and sometimes if that kid's sleeping in the back of a car seat, you just forget he's there. And especially nowadays, you're talking on the phone.
Hold it. What kind of things have you done to leaving the kid in the car seat?
I have walked into a store and go, baby, and run outside because he's so quiet that you sort of forget. You know, if they're making noise
in the back seat, anything could happen back there. Once when I was a little kid,
I know that's dangerous. That back seat.
I was going somewhere with my little friend's family, you know.
Yeah.
Like we went swimming somewhere, and then I got in the back seat. Like I was the last guy to get in the back seat.
Yeah.
You know how cars used to? They weren't like 4-door things. They used to be like mostly 2-door cars. You know?
Yeah. 2 doors.
And so as I was getting in the back seat, you know, slipping behind the front seat, I kind of grabbed the edge of the door thing, and
your arm got caught in the door.
Not my arm, my fingers were in there, and then they slammed the door on my fingers, you know. And I was like so stunned by the whole thing that I couldn't even say anything.
Like,
yeah, exactly. I was just like that. I wasn't even
they
making
just
any
started
sounds.
driving away.
I wasn't even making any sounds, and then like my friend's older sister or something like noticed finally, and they opened up the door.
You're so tolerant, even as a child.
But you never. It was. I think I was just stunned. No sound was coming out of my mouth, you know. But anything could happen back there, Raghunath, if you're not careful.
Yeah. A snake could crawl back there.
Snake could be back there. All right, let's get back.
Anyway, the point is, in a world of love, there's a payoff for that. Anything can happen at any age in their life.
Vulnerable. You're vulnerable, huh?
Yeah, we're vulnerable.
It's interesting the way the sage says it, right? He says, "Now you know, right? You wanted it, now you got it. Now you are actually experiencing the misery of a person who has sons and daughters. This is what comes with the joy. It's an incredibly deep joy, and as all things in the material world, they come with the flip side. Right?
And you're always, and with the little kid, you're always trying to make them feel like everything's safe, everything's good. There's no monsters in the closet. Is there a monster in there? No, there's no monsters in there. Is it okay? It's really windy out there. Is it scary? There's lightning. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Right? It's their whole childhood is don't be scared. Don't be scared. Then they turn like 14 and 15, and you got to be like, be very careful. Who's going to be there? Who's at that party? Who's coming to that party? Are their parents home? It goes from being don't be scared to be completely scared of everyone. Who is that guy? Who are you talking to online? It's yeah.
All right.
Oh God, sons and daughters.
Okay, let's keep this going, Raghu. My dear king.
My dear king. Now you are actually experiencing the misery of a person who has sons and daughters. O king, owner of the state of Surasain, one's wife, his house, the opulence of his kingdom, and his various other opulences and objects of sense perception are all the same in that they are temporary.
Okay.
It's an interesting way to look at the world.
It really is.
We own nothing. One's kingdom. So we're not even talking. Some of us rent apartments. We've been here for 2 years.
We got a little kingdom.
We got a tiny little. These guys have had a family kingdom that they inherited for lifetimes. It's been in their family for generations. He goes, your kingdom, your military power, your treasury, right?
Yeah.
It's treasure. Like there's like a family wealth we inherit from our
Estate
trust
wealth
funds
is-
from our parents, our great grandparents. This is how kings live. They're
and estate
inheriting
wealth
wealth.
is at his fingers as well.
All these things, and it seems so solid. If you come, I'm not from a rich family. My parents were, Depression era pig farmers from Italy, but it was like, imagine wealth coming down for generations, generational wealth. It seems like, okay, I'm set up forever. I'm always going to be set up. Even that's temporary. Even everything that you think is solid in this world, right? Your servants, right? Some people as little children, they had servants. True. Someone on Zoom, I'm not going to say who. Ministers, friends, and relatives are all causes of fear, illusion, lamentation, and distress.
Because there's two sides to the coin, right?
There's two sides to the coin that you can lose them all at any moment, right? What must it be like if you've invested all your safety and security in your wealth, or in your home, or in your or a loved one, or your own body and your own health? People who pride themselves of their health, and all of a sudden they get a chronic disease. It's like it rattles your entire world. So all we're saying is invest in something that's got a bigger return on investment, right? Which is our spiritual life.
You should be a stockbroker guy. One of those.
One of those guys, what did I call Mad Money?
No, like the guy that's saying, look, you got to invest in this, man. This thing is going to take off. What are you doing?
What are you? I could have been a good salesman, I think.
Okay, let's finish this verse here.
Where are we, Mara? Please help me. They are like a Gandharva Nagara, a non-existent palace that one imagines to exist in the forest.
Yeah.
Because they are impermanent, they are no better than illusions, dreams, and mental concoctions. The whole thing is riddled with a sadness, because what the Bhagavatam does, it shatters the romance of the material world.
It's got to do it.
When I do that, what happens to me? When I go to like some thrift shop or something, and I'm looking, or a garage sale, and I just see like photos of family members, and I'm just like, old photos of family.
You tell us about those photos. You're really into those photos.
Don't those affect you in a deep way? Seeing
I never see any old photos of my family. I never see.
Not your family, just any family. Just like the love that existed there, it's no longer there. They're all. Sometimes you see like a little girl, and you're like, oh, that little girl's probably dead by now. Meaning, like that was like 100 years ago. That photo. She's probably an old lady, or stuff like that affects me in a deep way. It makes me see our life as a generational, almost like a family dynasty, or what you see yourself is like sort of eternal.
You know what I was thinking here, Raghunath? You're saying that you okay?
I'm depressed.
Come on, Bubba Ganoush. But when you're saying that the Bhagavatam is just, what did you say? How did you phrase it? It's destroying the romance. It's shining a light on the.
Yeah. What's that? Come on, get in the microphone, Miss.
It shatters the romance.
Shattering the romance. Yeah.
Shattering the romance.
But it's kind of like this. I'm not going to go back to the Twilight Zone because you'll get on my case. But let's say your illusion was, that you thought you were Jimmy Page, right? Like you're walking around with that double neck guitar and you think you're on the stage at Madison Square Garden. And I'm saying like, I'm shaking you, Raghunath, you're not Jimmy Page. Raghunath, you can't play Stairway to Heaven. Raghunath, you know, like it might be like, why are you being so cold to the guy? Like, no, because I'm trying to get him back to reality where he can really have a real, meaningful, satisfying life. And in order to get there, he's got to break out of the illusion. So I might speak in ways that would seem cold, that would seem that externally might seem, it's really not cold, it's compassion. You know, it's compassion. Hey, you're not Jimmy Page, man. Wake up, you know?
You know, Karuna, our little 10-year-old friend here, 11-year-olds maybe from Lebanon. She's 10 years old. Okay. She said she saw Raghu. I saw a photo of Prabhupada's family, and it struck me. Now, it's interesting she says this because we talk about, well, Prabhupada left sannyas. He had a big mission, and we sort of like gloss over Prabhupada's taking sannyas, leaving his family, becoming a mendicant. And then we'll say,
He wrote
well,
some
you know,
heavy stuff.
his wife was like not into him. She was into drinking tea. It's like, I'm drinking tea right now. It's like we make it so if we're gonna leave our partner and our children over a cup of tea because she drinks black tea. And I did go through a phase where I was just like, oh, ow, you actually left your family. But then I also re-examined that thought too, because I realized like at any moment your family can leave you. At any moment your kids can just be like, we're not into you. Or not only, you know, we're into you, but we have our own life also. And we'll see you on Christmas for a couple hours. Or sometimes kids just don't like their parents. For some reason, they concoct a reason that they were wronged by their parents, you know, and they shatter that relationship. So I always in the back of my mind think, well, what if my kids just don't like me? What if my kids just don't show up for me? Like, and then you start thinking, well, there's a bigger concept of family as well. I like family. I like the idea of family. Some people have a family that's always around the parents, you know. My family's sort of like that. They're really surrounded by they surround my mother. She's like the satellite. But
She would be
she's not the
satellite.
satellite. She's the main planet, and we're all satellites around her.
The sun.
She's the sun. But I was thinking, well, yeah, well, there's a bigger family. I have other people in my life that are like daughters to me and sons to me that are young, that are like, you know, 18, 19, 20, stuff like that, that I treat them. I have a parental
Tommy
relationship
Fawcett.
with them. I got young Tommy Fawcett. I got Maya. I got, you know,
Well, let me
Karuna.
read you.
Karuna's my granddaughter. But my point is, there is a sadness when we, in the material realm, when we tie ourselves to merely relationships of the body as well. And there's also a bigger picture of our identity. Even my secondary identity as a father figure, you know what I mean? You'll still get that role, but it'll be in a much purer way, not just because the kid looks like you. See where I'm going with this?
I see. I'm going to read you something.
What you got?
Going back, I'm going to tie this back to Karuna's looking at that photo.
Karuna, you stirred up something today here, Karuna.
Okay, so this is a poem written by Srila Prabhupada.
Oh, God.
He wrote it in 1958 when he was a sannyasi living alone in Vrindavan. Right? You mentioned, yeah, there's family stuff there, and eventually, you know, he had his mission, and his family didn't, particularly his wife, didn't share in that mission. And then eventually he went off and took sannyas, and you know, and some years later went to America and spread bhakti around the whole world, you know. But he had to go, you know, for him that was a hero's journey, and he had to go through that time where you go, you know, deep within, and you feel these deep emotions about life, and you kind of let go of it all. So this is what he wrote, and this is kind of deep, Raghunath. Okay, the last line is like devastating. So this was published in the magazine called the Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. 2 verses here. Prabhupada writes, I'm sitting alone in Vrindavan Dham. In this mood, I'm getting many realizations. I have my wife, sons, daughters, grandsons, everything. But I have no money.
I didn't know he had grandsons.
Of course. I have my wife, sons, daughters, grandsons, everything. but I have no money, so they are a fruitless glory. Krishna has shown me the naked form of material nature. By his strength, it has all become tasteless to me today. Yasyaham anugranami harisye tad dhanam shanai. I gradually take away all the wealth of those upon whom I am merciful.
Ooh.
How was I able to understand this mercy of the all-merciful? Verse 2. Everyone has abandoned me, seeing me as penniless. Wife, relatives, friends, brothers, everyone. This is
Right.
misery.
The material world, you're penniless, you appear as a loser.
This is misery, but it gives me a laugh. I sit alone and laugh. In this Maya samsara, whom do I really love? Where have all my loving father and mother gone to now? And where are all my elders who are my own folk? Who will give me news of them? Tell me who. All that is left of this family life
Is
is a list of names.
A list of names. Boom. Right? You just look. You open your high school yearbook. Who are all these people? They're just like
List of names.
apparitions. It's a list of names.
Yeah.
Like going through your old phone book. Like I have people still in my phone, like on my phone. I was like, that person was my client like 20 years ago. Like it's just lists of names.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm thoroughly depressed.
No, but there's an ecstasy in there too. There's a deep ecstasy, but but you
yes.
pass through that. You got to let go of everything in the material world.
Thanks, Karuna, for ruining my day. No, just kidding. Anyway, yeah, and you know
Why don't we
this.
finish the chapter. Let's finish
This
the
is
chapter.
part of our God realization journey, is to start to rip apart this life that we think is so solid and analyze it and use our intelligence and analyze it. Who are we? Where are we going? Who are these people? Are they assisting me on my journey? Are they hindering my journey? How much compassion can I show?
Are they listening to Journey?
Are they listening to the band Journey?
Why don't we finish off this chapter? Just a few verses.
I held my tongue so much from singing the Beastie Boys. If I had guitar, I'd be Jimmy Page.
Oh, I don't even know that.
That's,
I wouldn't have said it if I knew that that was a possibility.
okay. These visible objects, like wife, children, and property, are like dreams and mental concoctions. You are a dream, woman. I put my hand right through Mara. Actually, what we see has no permanent existence. It is sometimes seen and sometimes not. Only because of our past actions do we create such mental concoctions. And because of these concoctions, we perform further activities.
They keep us just on the wheel more and more.
The living entity in the bodily conception of life is absorbed in the body, which is a combination of the physical elements, the five senses for gathering knowledge, the five senses of action, along with the mind. Though the mind, through the mind, thank you, the living entity suffers three kinds of tribulations. Mara, what are they in English?
Tribulations from like the devas or higher powers. Tribulations from
Okay, wait. Deva is a higher power. It means like the elements. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tribulations from one's own body.
Yep.
And
You get the flu, or you stepped on a nail.
Flu is
Stepped on a nail.
enough.
Stepped on a nail or something like that. Okay.
And from other living beings.
Other living beings. A dog bites you. Even poison ivy. It was sort of like another living being causing you pain. Someone punches you in the nose. Yeah. Those are once you get a body, get ready. You're getting one of those three or all three of them. Therefore, this body is a source of all misery. Now, when you
You got to read these
You
verses.
gotta read. I know. Well, there's important stuff, so I wanted to.
All right,
I didn't want
we
to
can
just
hang with
rush
it if you want.
on. Sometimes it's better to take things slower, Kastuba. Sometimes it's
Okay.
better to slow down.
Okay.
Therefore, O King Chitraketu, carefully consider the position of the Atma, the soul.
The soul.
In other words, try to understand who you are, whether body, mind, or soul. Consider where you have come from, where you are going after giving up this body, and why you are under the control of material lamentation. Try to understand your real position in this way, and then you'll be able to give up your unnecessary attachment. You'll also be able to give up the belief that this material world or anything not directly in touch with the service of Krishna is eternal. Thus, you will obtain peace. The great sage
Right.
Narada continued.
Peace formula right there.
What's that?
That was a bit of a peace formula.
A little bit of a peace formula. Imagine getting like double teamed by these two sages. They're just
Perfect.
both. Oh my God! It's got
But the real bomb hasn't
boom,
dropped
boom,
yet.
Boom, boom.
The real bomb hasn't dropped yet. Next chapter.
The great sage Narada
comes back to
continued,
that.
"My dear king, attentively receive from me a mantra, which is most auspicious. After accepting this mantra from me, in 7 nights you will be able to see the Lord face to face."
We're
You
going to share
know,
that mantra.
the king just had to burn a little bit of karma. If
Huh.
you're going through some struggle, some pain, some lamentation, and who's going through more than him right now? He's on the floor. His hair's disheveled. Everybody is weeping. He's just got a little bit of karma to burn. Just think of yourself.
Okay.
You know what? You're going through some pain.
When
you
you're a
just got
real
some-
mess,
When
you're
you're
right there.
really wailing on the floor, you just got a little karma to burn. And there's a lesson there. And there's a mantra. My dear king, in the former days, Lord Shiva and other demigods took shelter at the lotus feet of Shankarshan. Thus, they immediately got free from the illusion of duality and achieved unequaled and unsurpassed glories in spiritual life. You will very soon attain that very same position.
oh man, he must be like, what?
What?
Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 6th canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled, The Saints Narada and Angira Instruct King Chitraketu.
Teaser. The name of the chapter next is King Chitraketu Meets the Supreme Lord.
But you know who else he's going to meet?
Jesus.
No, his kid's going to come back.
I know.
Talk to him.
I'm just thinking, like, you know, the Bible talks about Christ resurrecting from the dead. King Chitraketu meets the Supreme Lord.
And
his
son
child comes back
dead.
from the dead. He
His
gets
son comes
secret
back from the dead.
mantras. The
His
son
son
of
com-
Lord Brahma appears in disguise in his house. We've got everything here for a Christmas celebration. We've got the stories, the magic, the mysteries, the wonders. It's a winter wonderland.
And we got a Christmas tree.
And we have a Christmas tree behind us.
Okay. Mara, are there any takeaways from today?
Yeah, I got a lot of takeaways today.
Where the ranger no crib
Oh.
for his bed. Go.
Almost made it.
I'm going to go Christmas caroling this year, Mara. Let's
Great.
do it.
Just do it off the show. That's all
Mara's
we
like,
ask.
yay, great.
I
Go.
thought
Go
you were
for it.
going. Yeah, you said you were going.
No,
Christmas
when you go
caroling.
Christmas caroling, you go with the posse.
Back to our takeaways. Ego prevents love.
Gets right in the way.
Yep.
To the degree there's ego, there's no room for intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Look at our own pain with stone cold Vedantin and a soft-hearted Bhakti-yogi.
Okay.
What? Say that again.
No,
Look
you
at our
weren't listening
own
when I was
pain.
talking, Raghunath. It's okay.
I was listening. I was very attentive today. I really tried.
You are not your kids' accomplishments or their failures.
And they didn't do anything to earn it either.
Yeah. Well, no. Sometimes they have earned their accomplishments.
Not those little babies. They haven't done anything.
They haven't done anything. They just look cute. What?
You're just scrolling around.
I'm just scrolling around. I'm just
Don't
nervous.
touch it.
I've got
Yeah,
nervous
don't
disorders.
touch it. You're gonna mess it up.
So
Ask the
Raghunath
sa-
needs like a pacifier or something like that.
I need a pinky.
Or what are those like fidget spinner things?
Yeah, there you go.
Somebody get
So
me
you
a
don't
fidget
touch the
spinner.
computer. Yeah.
Oh, Hare Vishnu, Hare Krishna, Hare Vishnu, Hare Krishna. Okay, go.
Ask the sages for knowledge during painful times.
Reach
Ask
out.
them. Ask those guys.
The lessons keep coming until we learn them.
Till I peck out of my
Yeah.
egg.
Evolve or repeat.
We say that a lot, don't we?
I know, but it's a really good one.
It may be the title of my book.
Ooh.
Our greatest sources of material jubilation are also our greatest distresses.
Greatest
Okay.
cause of happiness, and greatest cause of distress. Ouchie.
Flip side.
Hear wisdom to escape the illusion.
Okay.
Bhagavatam shatters the romance of the material world.
Yeah, we need some sound effect right there.
All that's left of family life is a list of names.
Ow.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, who was that great grandfather of ours?
When you're wailing on the floor, you've just got a little karma to burn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wailing.
And
Yeah.
But not that type of wailing. Not hunting whales.
No.
no, not
Nobody
When
hunting
you're
did that.
whales.
wailing on the floor.
And anything can happen to a kid in the backseat of a car.
Oh man, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, that's an
Careful,
important
parents.
thing.
Careful.
Careful back there. Be attentive to your child in the backseat of the car. You know, Mara's car actually says, "Check the backseat of your car."
Yeah.
See that? You see that?
Yeah,
Although it seems
about
like it
dogs
wouldn't
in the
work
backseat?
because it tells me that every time.
I know.
I feel like if there were kids back there, I'd just learn to ignore
You'd
it.
Check the
ignore it.
backseat of your car.
It's like the boy that cried wolf.
I've never left my kid in there for a long time. It's always like, "Well, the kid," before people come for me to arrest me. Oh, Martine, have a wonderful day. Everybody have a wonderful day today. It's going to be a beautiful day, I think. Pretty sure it's going to be a very, very beautiful day. I need a new tractor.
We got a kirtan tonight, Raghu.
You got a kirtan tonight?
Anjana Swami and others, our friends.
All right. We have a plumber. We got a plumber coming today, and I'm very excited about that.